OPG versus Silly Geese on attack. OPG having a hard time defending. It looks like Silly Geese is pushing right up to the gatehouse, and I gotta say the gatehouse is one of, if not my favorite objectives in the whole game. So I'm really excited to see that going down. Looks like OPG members trying to get around. No, I keep getting it. No, Silly Geese members trying to get around head start the jump on OPG. Mana 9X holding out very well on his own, but could not keep up with Ponzi Scheme. Drip, it looks like they were just going to let him bleed out for a moment there. Love to see the cruelty. Gilgoot trying to take on Yeth and Topher. Good luck with that, buddy. Yep, and down he goes, unfortunately, as there's just less than half. Oh, it looks like Silly Geeses are overtaking here and parked right up to the gatehouse, getting the ladders ready. Looks like they're going to take their right side. Defense is left. Really fighting for the gatehouse. That's why we love it. But it looks like the Silly Geeses are holding it very well. And unfortunately, the gatehouse meter fills up way too quickly as the Silly Geese take it before OPG can find any ground, and the convoy pushing continues. OPG trying to hold the tunnel there, but the Silly Geese being silly as ever. Mana 9X feeling pretty lonely holding up the rear here, as the spawn wave comes in with only half the team a little bit behind. Yeah, they really want to make sure they regroup here. But don't worry. The great thing about the convoy is it'll come to you. Fire pots thrown out to break up the team a little bit, right in the path of the convoy. I can't help but wonder if that was intentional. Silly Geese is advancing on OPG, trying to take him out. We've got a nice little skirmish here, as it looks like OPG is actually able to get the advantage until Yeth and that damn lance poking over everybody's shoulders and helping thin them out. Again, the target switching seems to be a strength that the Silly Geese have here. Looks like Gilgoot going far to the left here to try and get the jump on 2 a.m., but finding himself outnumbered. Siege weapons, I believe, have been banned for the most part here. Convoy pushing right along. Borg trying to take down a few members here. But BE Brazil, I believe, is in Oni now. I dueled him myself, especially when he's running Ambusher. Guy's super fast, very deadly. Drip and Gilgoot trying to hold the line with Borg backing them up, but unfortunately it's just Borg on his own now. Yeth with that spear, paired with 2 a.m.'s quick act and mace, seems to have done the trick, as the convoy has been pushed to the barricade. OPG coming out to greet the Silly Geese, and it looks like getting the drop on them, with the Silly Geese trying to flank around to the right here and get their torches ready so they can hit that barricade hard. Doesn't look like we've got any who have got... Oh, it looks like we've got one who's broken the line. 2 a.m. with the flank, loading up on torches before OPG notices and overwhelms. OPG now needing to be very protective if they've almost completely lost that back barricade. We've got one, Legatus Cody, making a run for it for the Silly Geese. Oh, before unceremoniously being chopped down along with another friend with a torch. It's gonna be torch craziness for a little bit here. And it looks like we did have a successful torch there by Topher, who has now found himself in a 1v1 with Uwu from OPG. Now 1v2 as Gilgu gets in on it with the spear, but getting distracted by more torches trying to run through as half the barricade has now been torched. Franchise getting a nice tackle on Wacky Waterfowl, but it's not enough to keep a very nice arm from hitting its target and getting another barricade down. It looks like yet another flank there from 2 a.m. working that back line pretty hard. In this TO competitive style, small scale like this, it is all about the objective. We'll worry about the KDs and the numbers later. I respect it as the opposite of the way I play. 2 a.m. now, arming up with the shield and trying to evade and avoid Uwu and now other members coming in. As they were all distracted, however, Brazil was able to get the last torch. And they come out, both teams come out now to greet each other on the battlefield here. Topher v Franchise, both with Messer Knights. It's really just a matter of time to see if Franchise can close the deal before help arrives, and he could not. Topher with a very nice place stabbed there. Oh, one lone member of OPG caught in the wrong neighborhood. So it looks like now is when catapults will be allowed, but only for use on the objective. Because otherwise, Silly Geese are going to have to carry those petards all the way to the gate. Thank you, King Solomon, watching over on Twitch. To say Dom rolls and smiles is the GOAT. Appreciate you, buddy. Doing my best. We have a few bumps here, but that's okay. Silly Geese getting overwhelmed as they try to spread out by OPG here, it looks like. This Ponzi scheme has to pull out some fancy footwork to avoid getting killed. But he's got Brazil to the rescue with some stab specials. Not quite landing, though. As Drip's very furious with that Danax. Tide's turning, but he's getting overwhelmed. As now it looks like we've got Yeth and Wacky Waterfowl teaming up on one catapult over on the right here. Ponzi scheme coming to help as they are now under attack. Harvey Darby very brave for OPG running in like that. Getting a few whacks in on the catapult. We can't see its health, but we know it's taken some damage. Borg now, as well as Gilgu, trying to trickle in and pincer around the catapult here. But it looks like the Silly Geese have the other catapult manned. As Topher and Brazil hammer away. Again, Harvey Darby being the hero. Taking on 2v1 and getting some much needed hits on that catapult, or at the very least interrupting them. While it looks like the bigger battle proceeds over here on the right. Mana 9X throwing that Danax to distract Wacky Waterfowl. As his teammates fight on. Looked like it could have been even there for a second as we start to run around. Borg really holding it down. Now getting overwhelmed in a 2v1 against Ponzi Scheme and Waterfowl. And down he goes, unfortunately. But, and as he's doing so, Yeth and 2 a.m. continuing to hammer away on the right. Gilgut trying to take on the left, but Topher taking him out while Brazil, or taking him on rather, while Brazil keeps at it on his own. Gilgut and Topher really going at it here. Spear versus Messer. Cheese versus cheese. Just what flavor. As their teammates finally start to pile in and help them out in the middle. Both go down. And it looks like OPG... Oh! Waterfowl with a very nice jab. Ooh woo, however, able to sneak in an overhead. Looks like in the meantime, Silly Geese right catapult has gone down. And so has the left. However, it wasn't for long enough to keep the catapults from flying and opening that gate up. As both teams now try to run back in. Defense about to go pile up on their Duke. Take a quick look at the kill counts here. Looks like OPG just now getting the chandeliers down. Getting at least one chandelier kill. Unfortunately, not fast enough. Maybe they thought they could use it. Waterfowl now at the War Club. He and Brazil teaming up on one OPG member. Drip taking on a few more on his own. For cleverly retreating to get on our Duke. Borg doing the best on OPG's team and taking up the mantle. You can't just hide behind the team on this objective. You've got to be able to fight with what you've got. So Borg grabbing a large shield as well as a warhammer, but they are not looking to confront the Silly Geese. They are going to be looking to take cover, utilize their surroundings to be smart. Yeth charging in hard with that spear. Going up against Gilgoot. However, 2 a.m. helping to supplement there. And then target switching in towards the Duke. Silly Geese starting to take over a little bit here. As Borg, realizing he's outnumbered, needs to get to where the spawn wave is going to be. Malthazar spreading hate in the chat here as well, saying I'm just okay-ish, and hey, you're not wrong. A little rusty, new to this, it's okay, man. You're my best, man. Silly Geese overtaking OPG in their own house as the Duke goes down. Silly Geese taking the win on Dark Forest here. Let's take a look at the final scorecard here. 79 for Agatha for OPG and 126 for the Silly Geese. As we re-rack here, now switching sides. So Silly Geese will be defending, OPG will be on attack. Looks like we are trying to get teams organized here. We have to do a restart. Looks like we are progressing. With the Silly Geese fiercely defending that barricade against the invading OPG. Thinking they can ambush with the caravan in the night. Gilgu leading the charge now with the spear.
Stop the Masons! Hold fast!
Looks like we've got the Silly Geese holding strong here on defense. Holding on to that barricade for dear life. It's OPG giving it their all. We finally got a few. Drip and Harvey Darby on the barricade. Finally starting to thin that out a little bit. Looks like mana finally starting to focus up. They're focused more on the enemy team than they were the objective for a minute there. But they were able to break it down, and the convoy does progress. We're back underway as OPGs now turn to push with the Silly Geese defending, and it looks like that advantage is working out for them a little bit here as they're having a little bit of a hard time. Silly Geese did win on attack on the last round here. Convoy pushing along nicely as OPG is waiting for the rest of their team to spawn in. If you think about it, the way this Elite Series works, it is kind of like TDM plus objective. You gotta wait for everybody to spawn back in if you want to be smart about it. Looks like everybody trying to pair into 1v1s for a second there until stabbing happened. And target switching. OPG now sweeping. Silly Geese sweeping, I'm sorry. Yeah, OPG is on attack. Silly Geese defending. Silly Geese getting a nice little sweep before more OPG members were able to spawn in there. And now they are turning the tide and getting the taking this convoy back over. As the Silly Geese start swarming in immediately, and here we are. Flashing as OPG is getting thinned out by the Silly Geese here on their attack objective. Looks like 3 members left of the Silly Geese. Sergeant Jelly starting to run in now as well. Unfortunately, this spawn wave for defense is not working to their advantage. As it's keeping their numbers thin. 2 AM always the hero running in though. Trying to halt that convoy all by himself if he has to. Yeth masterfully working that spear. Not quite well enough though. As we're able to get to the gatehouse. Silly Geese now having to defend. Let's see if they can defend it as well as they held it on the last round, as they are immediately ready to meet OPG. Some beautiful skirmishes here. Target switching is everybody's best friend right now. Beautiful clearing out by Franchise. Thinning out quite a few members just on his own. Let's see how he handles the 1vx, or if he retreats. Yep, waiting for backup. They better run in quick, as it looks like the rest of the Silly Geese are running on their way in now. Couldn't quite thin the numbers in time, but that's okay, as more members of OPG rush in. And it looks like they're able to overtake our Silly Geese and hold the gatehouse, redeeming themselves nicely for what had happened to them on this objective in the last round. The Geese trying to run up the side here, but realizing they've been overtaken and they need to get on that convoy and stop it from moving. See how well they hold. Like the Silly Geese were able to hold for a little bit there, but not long enough as OPG repopulates, recalibrates, and keeps this convoy moving. Only time siege weapons will be in effect is going to be when it is used against objectives, gates, things like that. Silly Geese running straight out to meet OPG as both sides clash ferociously. Yeth working that spear on a few of OPG, trying to keep them abated. Mana 9X taking on 2 members on his own, and Franchise running in as well to help. Can those big, wide sweeps from the XX help him out in this situation? Not as long as the spear, unfortunately, as they back up to regroup, and OPG now getting the strength to clash with the Silly Geese once again. Trying to play it smart and utilize not only the terrain but the cover of the convoy to cleverly thin out the Silly Geese's numbers, but they need to stay on that objective to keep it moving as much as they can. It seems like a lot of time, but if you spend too long not pushing in the objective, the bottom of that timer will creep up on you real quick. He's trying to hold back OPG as best they can. 2AM finding himself in a 1v2 against Franchise and Borg. Not a fortunate place to be. Jelly and Franchise doing the 1v1. A nice little matchup of Knight XX versus Messer Vanguard. But Franchise smartly decides to pull out as more members of Silly Geese start to pour in as they want to halt this convoy as best they can. Yeth taking on a little 2v1 there and able to hold them off until Ponzi's scheme can come in and help. However, Ponzi is not able to hold off Harvey Darby. It takes the whole squad to take that ambusher down. Sometimes you gotta use more than one swatter to catch a fly. Members of OPG trying to recalibrate here as they really need to get on this objective, as they haven't moved too much in the last 2 minutes. And the rate at which they're going here, Silly Geese might be able to hold them. We've got 2AM getting smart, clever with that target switching. Silly Geese currently holding this convoy for the last almost 3 minutes now. Barely able to make progress for OPG, unfortunately. OPG trying desperately to reclaim the objective, but the Silly Geese have shown to be really good at splitting up their team and conquering. Ready to meet OPG on the field once again. OPG, it looks like, trying to flank around the side of this ruin here. Not able to distract Silly Geese long enough. OPG running in again here. Trying to communicate, trying to figure out another way around the Silly Geese, because it seems like they've really held them off here. As this convoy is just not moving. Less than 3 minutes to go. It is not looking good for OPG. Silly Geese really doing a good job of splitting them up, hurting them, and target switching. As that's the name of the game here, is utilizing your surroundings and the terrain, as well as target switching, to get the upper hand. 2AM always the hero. took a death and now rushing back to meet. And it looks like we are short one. Is someone from OPG looking to flank. Meanwhile, the Silly Geese finally starting to get some kills here and make some headway. At least for a moment it appeared. Geeses, Cody, and Jelly facing off with Borg. He was holding his own for a long time there in that 2v1, but just could not lock it down. Now with only a few members left, it looked on Silly Geese, it looks like OPG finally starting to get some movement going here, but they're going to need a lot of movement. It wasn't quite enough as more members of the Silly Geese pour in. OPG really needs to regroup and make a big push. It is a long way to go in that last minute. So not looking great for OPG, but let's see if they can make a brave last stand and at least get some kills in. And hopefully wipe the board of the Silly Geese for just a moment. As they wipe down, as they get take down quite a few of them. However, Silly Geese getting the advantage just in time to overtake OPG in that skirmish there. OPG re-racking for these last 30 seconds. It's definitely GG's on this one, but they want to see if they can at least make a last impression as they move on to the losers bracket. Lots of good sportsmanship we're seeing in the server chat here, as it looks like the Silly Geese take it. Take a look at this last scoreboard here, so we can see 130 to 7-8, almost double again. Silly Geese really must have put in the time this week, or throughout the series rather, to make sure that they knew what they were doing in the small scale team objective and knew how to target switch. That was working out very well for them.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more from Palestra. Follow our links below and check out another video on screen now.